When we see these temples rise and open their doors to the multitude, we may be assured that human association has been enlarged. The city is a theology in stone. The city is born when the gods step beyond the family hearth. Architecture becomes the visible extension of the invisible communion once enclosed by the home. The temple is the hearth made public, its flame now civic, binds not kin but citizens. What was once private devotion becomes public law. Religion ceases to guard a lineage and begins to guard a people. The polis is the first universal family, founded not on blood but on shared divinities. The city gathers around the temple as a family gathered around the hearth. The altar becomes the city's center, its political, moral, and cosmic point of orientation. All roads lead to the sanctuary because all authority descends from it. The temple is the memory of unity. Its symmetry mirrors the cosmic order. Civic architecture is theology and geometry, measure as metaphysics. To build the temple is to stabilize heaven in stone. The sacred center gives form to the collective soul. The first lawmakers were priests. The first laws were liturgies. Law arose as the codification of ritual, religion becoming habit made binding. The oath, the sacrifice, and the decree were one act. To swear by the gods was to inscribe one's will unto divine order. Thus justice was not invented, it was inherited from worship. The priest became the magistrate, the rite became the sentence. The law of the city is the liturgy of the gods translated into human measure. Every piece of land within the city was sanctified by sacrifice. To own was to be consecrated, to trespass was to blaspheme. Citizenship was not a contract, but a participation in the common cult. To be a citizen meant to share in the sacrifices of the city's gods. The excluded were not merely outsiders, they were impious, lacking initiation. Civic inclusion was the theological extension of familial purity. The city was thus both temple and tribe, an architecture of belonging sanctified by fire. The constitution of the city was the organization of its worship. The Senate was the council of elders of the sacred hearth. The magistrate acted on ex officio as sacrificer. Every civic function was at once administrative and sacerdotal. The priesthood preserved divine continuity. Politics was the performance of piety on the scale of the city. To rule was to offer sovereignty as ritual. The walls of the city were extensions of its sanctuary. The city's boundaries were drawn by the plow, guided by the priest. To cross them uninitiated was sacrilege. To dwell within them was participation in divine order. The wall marked the circumference of the god's protection. Beyond it began chaos, the uninitiated, the profane, the barbarian. The founding of the city was the ritual fixing of cosmos upon the earth. Civic gods taught virtue unknown to domestic cults. Justice replaced obedience, equality replaced inheritance. The gods of the city were not ancestors but principles. Right, measure, order. To honor them was to live harmoniously with one's peers. The morality of the polis was public conscience sanctified as law. The city thus became the mediator between heaven and man. Through civic religion, humanity ascended from kinship to conscience. The sacrificial feast became the festival. The family offering became public redistribution. The economy of the city was founded on offering and participation, not accumulation. The market itself grew around the temple, the sacred exchange preceding the commercial. To sell within the sacred boundary was to invoke divine witness. Thus, economy emerged from liturgy, coinage from sacrifice. The polis economized the sacred, redistributing divine presence. Every transaction was once a prayer. As reflection deepened, the gods of the city became ideas. Zeus became justice, Athena wisdom, Apollo light and measure. The allegory of divinity prepared the intellect for philosophy. The temple's grandeur became metaphysical, the city an image of the mind. The sacred city thus prepared the birth of the civitas humana, universal humanity. When the gods departed, the laws remained. When the flame dimmed, reason took its place. The polis died as religion, but survived as the form of thought. The city is the divine body extended into space, a living architecture of memory, justice, and flame. Each temple is a cell in the body, each law a nerve of divine order. The polis is the transformation of religion into civilization. The God of the city is no longer confined to the altar, he lives in the law. To obey the law is to participate in the sacred. The temple builds the city becomes the temple. The circle closes, the divine fire once hidden in the home now burns in the heart of humanity. He is the lamb, and I the fold. On the fusion, the king entering the ark, the priest entering the tabernacle, both repeat the same gesture, creation as penetration, sanctified. The lamb and the fold, the God who enters and the vessel that receives, are one body divided for drama. Every act of creation doubles as a self-engendering, the Father reborn as Son. In the divine economy, the penis is not organ but emblem of life, lineage, and sacrifice intertwined. The tree of life is ambivalent, trunk rising, branches bearing fruit, both penis and breast. The fruit is milk and semen at once, nourishment and procreation. The same tree becomes the cross, the Son hung upon the maternal trunk. Creation and crucifixion are one continuous act. The mother containing the phallus is both womb and executioner. The Son's death reaffirms the maternal totality, the eternal return of the devouring source.